Damn, Jimmy, you're looking cool as fuck in that shirt with that
Dude, do you
hair.
like it? Do you like it? It's Gritty and the Philly Fanatic in the Pulp Fiction pose.
Wait, who
It's
are
dope.
those?
This is the Philly Fanatic. He's the Phillies, Philadelphia Phillies, the baseball team mascot.
Oh,
And then
those are
this is
mascots?
Gritty. Yeah, and this is Gritty, the orange Flyers mascot that like took
Wow.
over the internet. Yeah, dude.
Is
No,
that
so
a
I just
hard
kinda
hat?
like- It is a hard hat, yeah.
Why do you have a hard hat?
You know those like channel point things
Yeah.
on Twitch? Well, I didn't have any, and my chat were like, get like a thing for it, so I have like a hard hat now.
Wow.
And
So
no
cool.
one does it because I have a dog, and they would rather spend the points feeding my dog. You
I
can
would
like
much rather see you in a hard
Oh,
hat.
you
any
just
day.
feed the dog? Like, oh, that's
yeah,
kind
just
of
give
fun.
him like a carrot or like give him a treat or something.
That's actually really fun.
That's where everyone's points go to.
That's a great idea, because then you feel as a viewer that, like, you know, you're kind of feeding the dog a treat.
Yeah, kind of.
Wow, that's not. I get that every time I stream, that I need to do
Jeff
channel
Pets?
points, and I never do. And I'm
Yeah.
always like, oh yeah, I'll do that for next stream, and then
They're kind of like, yeah. When you first set them, you kind of realize like how much people do use them or how much people don't use some of them. So it takes a while to like figure out what you should do, I think. But they're a bit of fun.
my thing is, I'm not a Twitch watcher, so I don't have any experience, like, using them. And then the little research I did to try and find some good ones was, like, I like the feeding an animal one, but I don't have an animal, so I guess.
Oh, rip. You are the animal. You're the
I'll
wolf.
just get a
aren't you? So-
gerbil strictly to feed it
Feed
for
yourself.
channel points.
Guys, I can't feed the gerbil if you don't use your
Yeah.
points.
The only way I feed it
It's a
is if you
big
redeem these points.
That would be so sad.
It would be terrible. It would-
Lucrative, but sad.
You would literally.
Just don't throw it like the
Go to jail.
that other streamer did.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
God, it's a good thing it was a rather large cat.
Yeah.
I mean, like, imagine if she had like a rodent. That poor creature, just totally gone. Oh man.
I'm not laughing. You are.
Are you guys both using Shure SM7Bs microphones?
Yes. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Why does
Yeah.
Nine Rain your filter is like thick?
I got a new one because I have a super loud fan, and this kind of cuts a little bit of the fan noise. I can have my noise gate lower, and then, but mostly I have a really unsound treated room, and it helps with some of like the mid echoes. Like there's a lot of weird kind of reverb in this room.
Yeah.
No one will ever notice in a video at all. Makes no difference to them. It's just a me thing. It helps the like 0.1% better, but
I truly do kind of think about that. Like, there must be 100 things that I have personally gone and did something really out there to fix, but not because anyone pointed it out, but because I could hear it while I was editing. And I'm like, how many people would have noticed if I did or did not do that?
like nobody.
Yeah.
Probably nobody.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, there's so many things. This might be so forgive me if I take it there. This might be the most like editor YouTube like side of things podcast of all the podcasts, because I have so many things that I'm wanting to ask you specifically, Tom,
Okay.
and chat
Is
with
this
you
a
about.
Q&A?
No, I mean, but just like, so first of all,
There we go.
I'm curious because I always like hearing this. For me, there is almost no correlation between the amount of time that I spend on a video and how well it does.
No, there isn't. That's
And there's almost no correlation between how much I really like a video, like my top 10, are not the 10 most successful by any means.
No.
So I was wondering if that's the same for you.
Yeah. I deleted my most viewed video like 8 months ago.
What? Which one was
Yeah.
it?
It was just so bad. I just put a Elite Clue casket on the thumbnail and Vorkaf going like, "Rah!" And it was honestly a trash video. I was in my old apartment and it was so echoey, and I just like, I don't know, it just caught on for some reason or another.
That's hilarious.
So I deleted it and re-uploaded it because it's in like an old playlist. So I re-uploaded it, but like, and put it in the thing as like a private video.
Yeah, my most popular is still the first One Kick Rick, and that took me like half of an afternoon to hop in and record. Maybe a little longer, but it was like I had the idea and I was like, hey, I'll make a YouTube channel, and I just sat down and made it and put it out. And I was
also, it's like one of your first videos has the most views.
It is my very first video, and it is
that's kind of epic.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was a good idea just because of the timing, and it was a good parody. But like
is yours on 1 million yet, Jim?
Huh?
Is yours on 1 million views?
No, it's at like 760, 770K, I think, somewhere over there.
That's huge.
Yeah. When it hits 1 million, that'd be crazy, man. That's 1 million whole ass people that I baited.
Sorry for interrupting, Nine Raynos.
No. So I'm mostly just curious, like, I would assume that that's the same for you, where there's no correlation between what you're like, I wish everybody saw this, and what everybody sees.
I don't really like my latest that much, and it's already doing more well than the previous one that I prefer.
Oh, your 2 latest videos?
Yeah, because I kind of rushed the end because the sponsor wanted me to get it out on the same day, so I kind of
welcome to it, baby. Welcome to it.
Yeah, they were kind of like being a bit pushy about getting it out. So
who was it?
I kind of like rushed the end a bit, but I don't know.
Could you?
That's the thing with being a YouTuber. It's like perfectionism problem sometimes.
Yeah.
Express VPN.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank God we're using our own audio because just blew up my
beep
volume. Okay, yeah, I haven't worked with them, but yeah, dude, once you get into the whole sponsors thing, it creates so many conflicts with yourself because it's another step in content creation of pushing you towards what it's like to be in the actual industry of having deadlines.
Yeah,
and
no one relies on me, and now they do. Kind of thing.
Yep. It's a crazy concept because now you're at the point where you should only be accepting sponsors and doing this if you know how to incorporate them correctly and you're confident enough in your editing skills to get them done like to your own standards and quickly enough, because
it's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
I feel.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that until I started.
Legally obligated
it would be easier.
Yeah.
It's
crazy. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
What's your favorite video you ever created, Tom?
I think my most treasured are like, I have 2. The first time I ever like gave a shit about editing, I remember that exact video, and it was Mr. Mammal that kind of inspired me because this is when like he started having the primordial boot meme, and I was like, oh, what if I I got primordials early on one of my accounts. I don't even remember what account it was now, and I was like, oh, like I'll like call the boots that I got Jordans, and I'll do like a Nike Jordan kind of edit on them, and then that was like the first video of mine that got over 1,000 views.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, people like this. And then from that point on, I kind of like started putting more effort into YouTube. So that was like a important one for me. And then I think like one of my intro videos, I remember like a lot of people were in 2017, like would come up to me at RuneFest and talk to me about it. And that was like interesting for me because I never thought like people would want to talk to me about anything like that in real life.
I remember meeting you at RuneFest. I remember I was standing next. I might be misremembering some things, but we were like chatting in a group of people out in the lobby, just a little bit outside the main venue area.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, most people had like their shirts on with their names and stuff. So I was introducing myself to a lot of the other content
I was sat there
creators.
naked, no shirt on, you know.
and this naked man is standing next to me. I've been trying to ignore him for 10 minutes.
No, it's Kevin.
Yeah, and it was Kevin, so he's tall, and it was, anyways. But no, I was standing next to Tom. I didn't know it was you, and after the conversation kind of died down, I turned and I think I like introduced myself to you. I was like, "Hey, I'm Nine Ram," and you're like, "Oh, I know who you are." And I was like, "Huh? What?" Because I didn't have a shirt. I didn't have any subs. I didn't know. I was just like, I don't know. I guess he knows who I am. And then I think someone said that's Tom, and I was like, I don't know who Tom is. And they were like, that's Gunschilli. And I think I melted a little. I was just like,
Starstruck.
Oh, yeah, you don't watch Twitch, so you wouldn't have seen my face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nine Rain avoids Twitch.
Not really.
It's the plague to him.
I just, as a consumer, prefer YouTube, but that's pretty much it.
I'm the opposite, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you always have it on like in the background or on the side when you're not editing or recording or something?
No. I feel like YouTube for me can be like there's people I watch, but sometimes I get into the rabbit hole of like watching and maybe sometimes accidentally trying to hold myself to some standards, or like trying to like, if I get like really addicted into watching someone's series, sometimes I try and like I feel like it rubs off on me like really hard.
Okay, and you try and go do that series, you're like, I want my next video to be like that.
Yeah, so when I consume YouTube these days, I normally like binge watch while traveling.
Okay.
It's like my go-to. And when I know that I'm not going to make a video, I just like smash out loads of people's vids.
Interesting.
And then like, I feel like people like Torvesta and Frames content is like something I watch before bed.
Okay.
Because it's so like digestible and fun to watch. Whereas series, I like to like binge watch.
Yeah, and there's just, they don't insert a lot of outside material like story or editing or anything. It's really simply, I'm going to do this PKing thing in RuneScape. Here are clips. Sometimes there's music. Mostly it's clips. It's just really...
Yeah.
There's music every time.
No, I'm just saying...
like, I find it really insane how they can still sometimes construct a narrative with like such a... Like, PKing's hard to spin into a narrative because you're mainly like concentrating on it so hard that it's like you're not really thinking about the story at the time. Whereas for us three, I think it's a bit different. We're kind of always thinking of the narrative a bit more. I try not to so much. I'm thinking to myself sometimes like, oh, if I get better at the game, I don't have to spin narrative too much.
Right.
Because, but it is, I think it's really hard to do that. I tried one PKing video once and it was like, I struggled and my audience knew I did too. Yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to say that there's not a lot going on in a bad way. It's just that they've
it's so different
like
compared to your
condensed
PKing
it
stuff
to like the most basic elements. That's why everybody likes it so much, because they're there for like just the meat and potatoes.
Yeah, they want to see noobs get wrecked.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly when I'm editing a White Wolf video, like 9 times out of 10, my live commentary is not worth it. It's just me going like mic breathing and then dying, and you're like, wow, what a good clip.
Yeah, I talked to Kevin about that exact thing with like live commentary PKing, because that takes so much learning of trial and error to make yourself not sound like a complete idiot while you're PKing in real time, because they don't do any voiceover like during live like clips like that. Like they'll do the introductions like voiceover, like set the scene, but that's it. Everything else is like that's all live. And
you just repeat yourself. That's what I do. Like and so many of my clips, I'm like, oh, there we go, guys, just got this, or oh, good fight, or da 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 da. You end up repeating yourself. So yeah, I guess like I feel like a lot of YouTubers now are really good at spicing it up though. They'll just add like a music element or like a graphic element or like maybe like a soundbite instead, so you can like just spice it up and keep it changing. So yeah.
This is something I literally just remembered, but I don't know if you don't need to talk about it if you don't want to. I don't know how you feel about it, but I remember one time you had told me when I was asking you about editing, because you're like the editing guy, that you were working with some crews on like music videos, like real life music videos and stuff. Do you still ever dabble into that, or was that just like a one time like I'm gonna try this out?
Yeah, it was mainly like advising stuff or just really quick things. I had well, the first one was Czech, and we actually met a director in a pub. It was really weird. And we got talking, and he asked us if we wanted to do like a TV show in the Czech Republic, and it's like on their main broadcasting channel. It's kind of like Eric Andre show but Czech. But we said yes, and like we kind of started, and then both of us realized how shitty it is to sometimes work for certain broadcasting companies. Like there were so many restrictions, and neither of us would have been able to content create on top of it, and the money was like not good as well. So I dropped that, and then I've done like just stuff for some friends, like music video stuff, some tips. Like some people just want like me to get like what this music video I did for this like UK rapper. I didn't do the music video, but he just wanted to like, he wanted me to change the colors of like light leak. So it was like just color correction stuff. But yeah, it's weird how those offers come around, because you know, make RuneScape videos and people like email you like, hey, you want to change some colors for me on this?
That's what happens when you show off your editing skills,
I mean, seriously, your editing, as far as like being I can't think of any other YouTubers where I watch them in part for the editing. Like I actually like your videos. I want to see the cool editing stuff that you do, because there's seriously nothing else like that. I like, not even in the gaming. I don't know any. Like there's people who get pretty that are really talented at setting scenes or recreating like narrative kind of like plots and having characters on screen and have good cuts and good timing, but nobody's doing these like crazy sequences where you feel like you're watching a music video or something. It's just a RuneScape video.
I really don't know how I got there. Like, why? Like, people always ask me like, oh, how did you get that style or this, that, and the other? And I don't know. It just kind of falls into place, I guess.
Was it because was it something that was really fun for you to do while you're editing?
Yeah, I found, well, no, I didn't find it fun at first. I like getting your head around software is like, can be really tedious.
Yeah, it seemed hard as shit.
It is horrible. And like optimizing your PC as well. I'm really bad at tech. Like I have to get help with like, I had to get so much help to like optimize my software for my PC and like make sure I have the right hardware and the right cooling so it doesn't overheat and autosave and all that crap.
Okay, Tom, real quick, I need you. This is just something that Nine Rain needs. Okay, I need your help, because I know you have told me about your like, I guess having to pay for Adobe's cloud, right? And how it's been like frustrating, because at one point we have to talk about your name change as well, because that's a very interesting story, because we love to shit on YouTube on this podcast, and it's great. So we have to talk about that, so keep that in mind. But also, you were not getting like monetized for anything. All your stuff was getting demonetized, and from YouTube, like you weren't making enough to even pay for your subscription, pretty much. Like it wasn't paying for itself, and that was so shitty. And because you were using it better than anyone else is using it, and it wasn't paying off for you, which was bullshit. And now, you still pay for it, right? Like you still have Adobe, all that.
Yeah.
9rain has Sony Vegas, and I've never seen a more nightmarish thing.
You do editing on Vegas.
I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, and
that's
his
impressive because you're very good at editing.
I'm gonna be switching to Premiere soon.
Oh my god, that's gonna be a hard switch because you're already pretty good at it.
It is gonna be a hard switch, which is why I've been putting it off. I used Windows Movie Maker for 5 years.
So did I.
Absolutely mastered the program. I've done every single button you can press.
Like people take the piss, but it's good.
Right, but then you hit the point of I've pressed every button. I'm trying to do something that I literally can't do. Anyways, I didn't know what to get, and Sony Vegas had a slightly cheaper option at the time.
Like Humble Bundle or something.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but it ended up coming out that I was going to pay a lot less if I was using Sony Vegas. And now I've just been putting off getting Premiere for about 4 months because I'm like, I want to release a video in a week or two, and
yeah,
it's really good.
I used both when I was learning. I was on Camtasia at the time, and I used Premiere.
That's a good.
I
idea.
exported the whole thing on Camtasia, and then I touched things up in Premiere that I knew how to use.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm gonna bite the bullet soon, and because last week was like the final straw. I was trying to edit or like 2 weeks ago, the Soup podcast, and I sat at my computer for 12 hours trying to render this video, and it just kept crashing and crashing and crashing. Oh, I was probably like, I've had enough. It crashes all the time. I F5 for safety, like it's the quick save. I don't know, every 30 seconds when editing in that program because it will crash.
I got to do that for Premiere too. I have autosave set, but I manually save pretty much before I do everything.
Yeah, if I'm ever, I mean, it's even basic things like if I'm doing 2 actions at once, if I'm moving vertically along the timeline and I scroll in to zoom in, dead. It's just anything like that where you stacked. Oh man, and then
too many layers will do that.
There's just a lot of cool shit that Premiere can do that I can't really do in Vegas.
So Tom, is it worth it? Is it worth the monthly subscription or yearly subscription?
Yeah. Oh well, yeah.
Yeah,
I would switch. It is the best. It really is.
Yeah.
Pull
the trigger, dude.
You
got me. You got me. I'll help you.
That's the plan. And then it'll be a whole bunch of YouTube videos and then calling Jimmy and be like, hey, I want to do this, man.
Yeah.
Help.
And then by month 3, I'll be like, fuck you, man. Just use YouTube, man.
Month 3, dude. That'll be day 3. You'll be like, dude, fuck off. You'll send me a YouTube video.
You learn like 3 things, 3 major components of Premiere, and everything else is like smooth sailing. Then all you have to do is like YouTube where to find stuff that you want to do. And that's all it is. It's the only intimidating part about Premiere when you first start is the interface. That's it. And then once you realize like what a few things are, and then you also realize I can set this up in any way, shape, or form that I'd ever want in the way that I'm most comfortable with. It's amazing. It's like, I don't know. I love Premiere for that reason that you can always set it up that's like what works best for you. Because nowadays I have my I guess program monitor to kind of like view everything on one physical monitor on my right side and all of my editing shit on the left side. So I like edit things around here and then watch it over here, back and forth, and that is so cool. I just love doing stuff like that, and I just started doing that like 2 months ago. So I don't know.
It sounds a bit creepy, but I feel like after a while with Premiere, you feel like it knows you and it knows what you want to do. I can't explain why, but like sometimes you'll make accidents and they come out happy because like it's intuitive.
You're like I just feel like it knows me. I don't know why. Cut to 15 minutes from now, Premiere's like, "Hello, Tom. Welcome back." You're like, I just get this strange feeling.
I wish it would talk to me.
I missed you, Tom. Where have you been?
I've got an adjustment layer for you, baby.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, dude. I always go to Tom for shit. I've bugged Tom so many times about editing things because
You haven't really. A few times.
a few times, but like it's normally when I literally I'm doing something different. Every time I've done something different that I need an opinion on, I'll go to Tom because I'm like, this guy knows his shit. I'll trust myself.
I like talking editing so much because it's like so abstract. I think a lot of people think that it's more technical than it is, and it's really not. It's all about like what you think you want to happen. You can make that happen, but it's not always going to come out perfect. Like I, to this day, feel like I upload a lot of shit. Like some things are good, some things come out bad, and I just upload it, even if I think it comes out bad sometimes. But
yeah,
like
I mean, at the end of the day,
you just adapt and get used to it.
Yeah, I mean, if you spent 5 hours on a 15-second sequence in a YouTube video, it's like I should probably just upload it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah, Jimmy might come to me for some for my opinion on some cuts or some timing or a joke, but he'll never ask my advice on editing.
Yeah.
He'll never be like, "Hey man, I'm trying to do this cool thing in Premiere." You live in Prague, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's Prague like? I don't know. And how long have you been there?
Been living here for 4.5 years now.
Oh wow.
I like it. It's great. It's very peaceful.
Yeah.
Like, not a lot happens. Yeah. But
That's
I
nice.
I have my dog. I walk him every day. I go to the shop, and that's about it. I don't really like. Me and Monica go out for food sometimes, but yeah.
What's the shop?
The shop. It's owned by Tesco, which is like a major UK store. So
yes,
like,
Tesco.
Is it everything you'd ever want in a store?
It's kind of like Target
yeah,
or Walmart.
yeah,
or something.
it's like Walmart kind of thing.
Nice.
And yeah, I don't know. It's a lot like I feel like before I moved out of the UK to move to another country, I initially thought, and I did feel it in like the first year, that it'd be so different. Then you just get used to it, and it's kind of like, oh, the whole world is the same, really. Like
And a lot of people speak
functions
English
similar.
there, right?
People speak English.
Yeah.
It's not as much as like other countries in Europe. So I've had to learn a bit of Czech, but it's
Is that a hard
It's
language to
cool.
learn? I feel like it's so different.
I think there are harder languages to learn, but it is not that I know or I'm good at them, but
Yeah.
it's no, it's
What does Czech sound like? Is it a Germanic or like?
ne, vole,
Say words.
Jestem český nedoumím.